Hello, and welcome to Discussing Accommodations with Professors. What to Say? A presentation by Disability Services at the University of Colorado Boulder. In this presentation, we will talk about how to approach your professors to discuss your accommodations, some potential ways to start that conversation, as well as what to do in the case that there is a disagreement between you and your professor regarding your accommodations. Why is it necessary to talk to your professors about your accommodations? After you submit your semester requests, we send your accommodation letters to your professors through Accommodate. While rare, sometimes the system may not properly deliver the letters for a variety of reasons, and so we ask that you students confirm with your professors that they have in fact received your accommodation letters. In some cases, professors may be responsible for providing your accommodations, especially time and a half and reduced distraction for tests. And so it's important that your professors understand the expectations for them in regards to your accommodations. Additionally, setting up a game plan with your professors will help ensure that the semester goes as smoothly as possible and that everyone is on the same page. In case there is any confusion, it's always best to clear it up early in the semester before you have any tests or quizzes. When looking to get in contact with your professor, there's a couple of ways you can initiate the conversation. First, you could stop by or make an appointment for your professor's office hours, which are usually listed on your class syllabus. Office hours have a great Office hours are a great time to touch base with your professor, and unless they are already meeting with a student, they should be available during this posted time. You can also try to catch them before or after class, although they may not know off the top of their head if they have received your letter, so they may need to check and get back to you. Lastly, if office hours and before or after class do not work with your schedule, you can always send your professor an email asking to meet with them. While email is helpful for setting up a time to meet, I still strongly recommend that you discuss your accommodations with your professor in person or over a Zoom call so that you can ensure that you have their full, undivided attention. When discussing your accommodations with your professor, it can be hard to know what exactly to say. Here are a couple of ways to start the conversation with your professor regarding your accommodations. Hey, I was wondering if you could confirm that you have received my accommodation letters from Disability Services. It's always a great idea to ask if the professor has any questions about your accommodations, and it's also a good idea to ask how they plan to implement your accommodations. Remember, in any case, you do not need to disclose your disability to your professor, especially if you do not want to. When talking to your professor about accommodations, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. You must submit your semester requests before your professors can see your accommodation letters. This means that if you do not submit your requests, your professor has no way of knowing what your accommodations are, and you may not be able to have them implemented until you submit your semester requests. If your professor does not have your letters and you have submitted your requests, reach out to dssupport@colorado.edu for assistance. Once your professors have your accommodation letters, your professor must follow the outlined accommodations. Remember, in some cases, the responsibility for implementing your accommodations falls on the professor, so be sure to know which accommodations require the professor's actions. If you have any questions about the specific implementation of any of your accommodations, you can always reach out to your access coordinator for more clarification. So, what should you do if your professor is not following your accommodations? In the case that your professor does not follow your accommodations or feels that they are unnecessary for a certain situation, reach out to your access coordinator immediately. Your access coordinator will be able to help resolve any disagreements in the implementation of your accommodations between you and your professor. Remember, we cannot help if we do not know about the situation, so it is very important that you notify us as soon as you know about a concern about the way that your professor is following your accommodations. Thank you so much for watching our presentation today. And remember, it can be intimidating to discuss your accommodations with your professor, but it is important to ensure that you receive all of your approved accommodations, and it is a way to make sure that everyone is on the same page. If you have any questions following this presentation, please reach out to dsinfo@colorado.edu or 303 492-8671 to get in touch with our front office.